then this deal came up. It was basically two quotes. You guys had one, 402, and then their quote in July, Southeastern, was like 400. Well, now I got a current quote, which this was December 5th, and it's at 433.
For the same unit?
Yes, well,
No, that's actually a smaller unit, isn't it?
well, the Lee Boy, yes, is a smaller unit from a different company, but if you look at the front page, those are identical units.
My last one says 398. The Southeastern.
Yes, that was the final, that was to give you the description of the unit. The front page shows you,
Of the front one?
well, the front one shows the 433 at top,
Yeah.
and then it specifies it's the same as the quoted 398, and then the quoted 398 is that back page for what the machine actually is.
So that last page is just a breakdown of that piece of equipment. So that gives you kind of the specs of what,
So the unit you're talking for 398,000, that's the specs are on the back page?
yes.
I apologize, there's a lot more paperwork with this, but I didn't want to kill any more trees than I had to give you the basics. I have everything to back it.
The cost would not be the 433, but the 398, is that right?
yes.
Okay.
And it
If you
is
take the
available.
unit that's ready to go.
Right, the one that's ready that was turned down by somebody.
Yes.
You don't have to wait 6 to 12 months to
No.
get it.
And it's still a half lane or a full width machine?
It is a-
Machine, right?
it is a full-
Two ways, right?
It is a full width. We can go, that machine is 11 to 22 feet
Okay, you can spread 11 feet and then go to 22 if you need to, right?
on the
Just
fly.
22.
We can do it as we're moving even.
So you don't shut the road, I mean, still, it's your half lane machine, you don't have to shut the road down.
Correct. Well, we would take low traffic roads and we would do
You do a full.
yes, but if we ended up on 300 West or 700 East, we're not going to do the full
The
width.
machine
We'll-
has capability to do both.
Yes,
How old's the current piece of equipment?
21 years old. And the computer that controls all of the measurements for the stone, the speeds of the belts, is where they say we're having our failure, and they do not have a replacement for it. If they have to fix it to where we still want the basic mechanics of the machine to work, they have to replace every sensor, every wire, the main brain, and that's a $50,000 price tag alone. Not to mention the belts that need replaced, the bearings that need replaced, and other issues that it is going through.
Approximately how many days a summer do you run this piece of equipment?
We try to get everything done as quick as possible, so we're looking at probably 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, and we do approximately 75 to 80 miles during that time period.
When do you actually need the piece of equipment, like June?
I like to get started as soon as possible, so that gives us time
May?
to take care of other issues, but we look at the temperature and go from there and the weather. Once the rain season's kind of gone is when I want to start.
You don't need it next week. I mean,
No.
you need it for the next season.
But the 398 machine, $398,000 machine is a new machine, right?
Brand new.
It hasn't been used
No.
as far as,
Nope. Still sitting at the dealership lot in Ohio.
for the Southeastern.
Yes, they have another, Southeastern, I deal with Fort Wayne, but then they found this, yeah,
Branches there.
yep.
Nice idea for asking now would be because that piece of machine's available, or if you were to wait and then have to find out you got to order, you'd be 6 to 12 months to get a new piece, right?
Yes.
Meaning you'd miss this whole next summer, potentially.
Correct.
Any trade-in at all with this machine? I know usually they auction off.
They actually came down, and they're the ones that gave me the quote, and then I asked them what trade-in value would be. They got with the individual and found out what they wanted to replace, and they said, this isn't worth anything, we don't want it. So we would have to
Us to unload it then.
auction. I would take it to an auction. I think we can get more of an auction than
Planning on
scrap.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah.
So can you explain where the money would come from? I think it comes out of your accounts, your budget?
Yes, that's part of the next stage, but I guess basically the end of our budget this year. I've been trying to be conservative here on a couple of things that we were doing, especially fuel, which I was real happy that we didn't go over our fuel budget as high as fuel got. And we have a balance of $916,000 here at the end of the year out of our yearly budget.
I have 760.
I got one from
Yeah, all of your 1176 and your 1173.
okay, well, this one I got from Lisa a couple days ago. It must have been a little older.
Same old thing.
Okay. So Lisa has the 700 and,
60.
okay, 760.
Now, if 390, if 400,000 come out of that, then, go ahead. You were
Oh, go ahead.
If it 400,000 comes out of that, you're down to 300-some thousand, when distributions come back to
It'll
start
just come out
replenishing.
of their operating balance when they ask for an additional next year. So it's money that was budgeted this year that they didn't spend.
Spent, yeah.
Okay, so
It's
it's extra.
encumbered
Yeah.
money that's gonna,
Yeah.
could be used for this. and-
Is there sales tax on top of that?
No. No delivery is, that's the price.
Are you okay on other equipment, though? I mean, because it's gonna start taking you down.
Well, with this coming out of an additional next year with the money we saved this year, I already have a plan in place to try to procure tandems, which we are short on for next year's upcoming, but those are also a year out when ordering.
Tandem rollers?
No, tandem assault trucks,
Oh, okay.
stone
Okay,
trucks, yeah.
So are we okay there at this point?
I'm not happy with where we're at, but
I mean, it's never perfect order.
well, I'm pinching it,
Well,
yeah.
operational, though, right?
Yes,
Everything's
yes,
gonna be-
yes.
They run, but right now, this is a situation here because it's an opportunity. I mean, there's a $35,000 opportunity cost that we have in a piece of equipment that's waiting on a
Plus a
lot.
timing opportunity,
Yeah,
lost time.
so I mean,
if
if
you don't
we,
have
by
it.
buying this now, we're saving 35,000 versus trying to work this into the other schedules.
If not more, if prices continue to rise.
Can
Any
you-
lease options or anything with this? Are they this is cash out, right?
This is cash out. There was a lease option. The commissioners didn't entertain the lease option. We went to a cash purchase.
I mean, obviously, we buy this, we hope to get 20-plus years out of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
Yep.
the plan.
What's the plan with the old one? Can you sell it?
Auction. Auction's about the best bet for that.
Probably won't get a whole lot, but
There's municipal auction sites.
Yeah, there's-
are commissioners on board with this? Okay, assume that would be the case.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the chip spreader.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions from council? All those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Okay,
Call them right away.
Thank you.
yep. No one on that?
Sometimes
Got
they
some.
go.
I appreciate it.
All right.
I know all the residents appreciate it, and it's, I feel it's a great choice. Our next topic is, we have been going through employees. Over the last 18 months, we have had 8 turnovers, and at this very moment, we're sitting with, well, as of 1st of January, we're gonna be 1 position short, and we have 3 new drivers, 3 new individuals that have not plowed snow on our county roads. I see a problem leading up to this. If this continues to happen, we're gonna go over some numbers here to show you what we're looking at. And if we don't act accordingly, I feel that the highway department is not gonna be able to perform service like they have in the previous years. So I'm gonna let Nate start with a,
Yep, I just got a few things here for you. As you've all seen in recent years, local government careers and certainly highway departments have become less attractive to the next generation. The perception of security, prospects of pensions, vacations, and holiday time aren't competitive with the opportunities available to them in the job market elsewhere. This is even true among identical government positions within the region. Surrounding counties have been struggling to fill open positions for months at a time. We've been told by other highway departments that they've had up to 5 open positions at one time and were desperate to have full staffing before winter would come. Wells County has been blessed in that we've been able to bring people in to fill these vacancies when they happen, and the county residents and leadership have not noticed a loss in the level of service. This can be attributed to our attempts to stay competitive within the region for salaries. Recent salary requests have been an attempt at maintaining this parity. Unfortunately, the underlying tenuous situation within the department has not been resolved, even though we've been able to keep seats filled. The employee rotation is only accelerating with each retirement. To address this, neighboring counties are taking progressively more aggressive actions. This last October, Huntington County passed an emergency salary change of $4.15 an hour across all levels of their highway department salary structure, and even developed a $30 an hour temporary salary to fill positions that could not otherwise be covered with full-time staff. Jay County passed a 20% increase for 2023 to entice employees to start with their county. Adams County is developing a plan to match the Huntington rates and is watching what we do. Our department is in a fight for staff, and like it or not, we need tools at our disposal to retain and to recognize the service of our employees. If we can't pay them enough to work for us, then we can expect to see more resignations and more rapid turnover in the years. So Sean's got some of the data here for you as far as kind of showing you the matrix of what we're dealing with for employee longevity and seniority here.
If you look at the front page, at the top would be what we would need to match Huntington County, and then Huntington County below, you can see what they're actually making, and that is on record. We just recently lost one employee is what really brought this to my attention. They enacted it on October 31st of this year, and one of our employees heard about it, seen it, and left, gave a 2 weeks notice, and started Huntington making several dollars more an hour than working for us. He was an employee that was with us less than a year. He got his 1-year anniversary on December 6th. His last day was December 9th. I see this happening often, or not even getting an individual like that, when Huntington County is 15 minutes away from our county. We have several other CDL jobs. The employee before that left went to just work in the stone quarry at IMI for free health insurance and a $2.50 raise. We're going to continue to see this over and over with new employees, and we are getting so close to the retirements. If you turn to the last page, you can see that we actually have 5 employees that are ready to retire, or not ready, but are capable of retiring right now. They can leave right now and go work for Huntington and make $4 more an hour and do the same job, and it just takes away from our county. And you can see that we have a large gap in the middle of about 10 years where we don't have any experience. The top 4 employees have 156 years of experience. That's experience of driving a truck, knowing the roads, dealing with the drifts and the snow. They know it. If you go with the lower half, we got the bottom 4 with 0 years experience. We have been spending days here trying to train these employees to battle this storm that we have coming up this weekend. I hope everything goes fine. It's a great training ground, but it's a learning curve, and they're gonna take years to learn. 1 storm, 2 storms, 1 year, 2 years is not enough to know everything that these gentlemen that's been here for, the top one is 44 years. And we need to come up with a way to retain them and make it interesting and available for new employees. So you can see on the bar graph, red and blue, that our new employees are the highest.
In that first 5 years, we have 8 employees in that 0 to 5 year category. You have 1 in 5 to 10, 0 in 10 to 15, 1 in 15 to 20, and even one of those in the 25 to 30s is eligible or will be eligible for their full pension next year. So those top 4 employees right now encompass 50% of your total work experience with the department.
If we had a steady decline or incline of employees, this knowledge would have been passed along, but we have a large gap there where the knowledge is not getting passed as quickly as most situations would. And so I feel we need to retain these possible retirees to give the new employees time to learn, and the new employees not to find something better and leave before they learn what we want them to know.
Right now, we're in damage control and trying to find ways to train people with CDLs. CDLs, as you're aware, have become more and more valuable. Within this market, there's a lot of trucking jobs in Wells County, which means there's a large pool of employees, which is somewhat helpful, but it also means there's even more competition. So there's so many more opportunities for our drivers to go take other jobs. And it's a balancing act. It absolutely is. I know we've made some efforts to try to do things to retain, but it's gotten more and more aggressive. And looking at these numbers, and when we started to actually dig into the seniority and experience, it's not getting better for us. It's going to be a drag on the senior employees as we're training new employees, and then they quit for more money, and they tell the older employees that they're making more money even though they're being trained in the process. That's frustrating for them, and you're going to burn out a lot of the employees as they're trying to get new hires on and onboarding them.
It really hurt when the employee that went to Huntington gave a 2 weeks notice, and he spent his remainder of 2 weeks telling everybody how great he has it and where he's going and how he's doing the same work.
So I know shown down here, you put the 2022 salary, but in reality is what we passed for 2023 versus the 2023 for Huntington, we're about $2 shy, is that right?
Correct.
Around 4 were 2 is reality.
From 20,
Okay, because you have 2023 for Huntington, but only 2022 for us, which is old data.
yes, so,
Yes.
Okay, because I'm just trying to
You
make sure.
are a little
I'm
bit
looking at the
closer.
ordinance here we're about to
Correct.
pass.
yes.
I
Yeah.
want to make sure that we're looking at this correctly. Okay.
2022, from ours in 2022 to where Huntington's at now, which they are not getting their first of the year raise. Their October raise was their yearly raise, so it was there and that was finished. And basically, from where we were at in 22 to where they're at now is 25%. Well, you gave us 7%, so it would be the difference. So yes, it wouldn't be the full $4. It's the difference to try to get us to their figures. Plus, we also tried given different positions as far as equipment operator, truck drivers, foreman and lead foreman and mechanics. Huntington's already doing that. A lot of counties do that. I tried getting that taken care of in the last budget meeting, and we had a hiccup. It didn't quite work out. So they also have a higher split in their pay. So a person that can run a road grader and grade a road makes a little more money than a guy that can just get in a plow truck. And it's well-deserved too. So instead of just making it one fee and keeping it ours, we threw in there as well as chopping the jobs up. That also gives me control of having more in charge. So this person's in charge instead of this person. The grader operator has a laborer or a shoveler. I need you to do that. And it just gives it a tier of control.
How do these equate to the union wages?
I have not looked at union wages in quite some time, but I would say that we're well below union wages.
So you haven't looked at any of
No.
that? Because normally your competition in the private side is, if they're unionized, obviously they're getting paid that amount if you're losing it to the private side. But basically, the way I'm reading it, you're losing it to other county highway departments, right?
We're losing it everywhere.
So you're gonna be competing against the private side out there, obviously.
We do have a little bit on the private side. We have the locality of staying home. Our main forced overtime is snow, and that's a requisite when they come in. If they're not willing to plow snow for overtime, then we don't want them on our team. You have private companies that'll go out there and work you 16 hours a day, 7 days a week during the summer months. So there is a little difference there too, but what they're doing is they're making $30 an hour to be able to do that, and then they take the entire winter off. They go make $30 an hour at Huntington County plowing snow.
The
Or
question
they sit at home.
does Huntington have any open spots right now?
Last I heard, I haven't contacted Huntington, but last I heard they had one open spot, and they were 5 short, and they just started filling them up when this happened.
Once they're full, when they stay full, you're not losing any more to Huntington.
Till they start terminating,
So
or
they start losing again.
till they pick the cream of the crop and give us the leftovers.
How many did you lose to Huntington? 1?
Yes,
Okay, so you lost 1.
yes.
And I understand, he talks about it and he makes it, sound great.
Mhm.
But you lost several to retirement, I know. Or some to retirement or
2.
medical retirement.
You're gonna lose a few more here, because one guy's gotta be at least 65. He's
Yes.
working 45 years.
Yes. Well, they're all eligible. All the ones with
Yeah.
the red, they're eligible for meeting the 85 age plus service. They only have to, and 55 years old, and they can leave and go work a different company and collect their retirement.
And get their
collect
pension.
perf.
You said Jay went up 20%, but what levels are they at then? So what's that mean?
I didn't print the J's out, but my understanding is that Jay started below ours and did the 20% to try to match up to what ours was.
So they're basically where we're at.
So they're trying to catch up, they were just trying to catch up to where we were at. And so it's part of the arms race that they've had. So they had attempted a 25% raise, they were able to do a 20% raise to try to get their employees so that they could be staffed up. And so it is a lot depending on what is the market into your area and what is the competition that these guys with CDLs can go to. The good and the bad is that there's a lot of employers with CDLs in these areas. The problem is there are a lot of employers to draw from, and where they're looking for people, they're willing to try to take ours. And so even if someone comes out of high school and once trained with a CDL, they could start with us, get their CDL, or try to get us to train them, and then go take another job for higher wages. It just depends on if the work-life balance that we offer is what they want. And right now, the individuals that have that or want that are in your 25 years and plus life experiences. The guys that are in their mid-20s to early 30s, they're coming and going. They may step in the door, but you're hoping you're going to be able to keep them. It may work out, but I'm concerned that as we see these retirements happen, every time you have one retirement, you're going to fill that spot 3 times until maybe that you'll find a person to stay. And that's exhausting to the crews and for training. We got to pay for that.
It's expensive to train a new employee, whether you put a cost on it or not.
So,
Understand?
So where would the funds come from to fund this?
Well, we have a shortfall with reducing the overtime a little bit that's been put into the budget for several years. With the plan laid in front, we would only be in a negative $61,000. And with the $726,000 of savings this year, I think that we can continue to save. I've seen areas where we can cut, and I think it needs to be spent here. And you're just looking from the,
Down to 400,000. You buy this machine.
but if I can save that save the same 760,000 next year, then I think if we get 60 out of that, I believe that we can carry on with the savings.
I think the concern is that if we don't keep the personnel to operate the equipment, we're not going to have the people to spend the money that we're budgeting for maintenance and repairs as it is the concern. Is that we may budget $400,000 for stone to be put on roads, but if we don't have guys to run those routes, then we'll have money for stone and nobody to put it down. And so we're going to have to essentially deal with what's the emergency ahead of us right now, and that is we need to have personnel to do the job and guarantee that we're safe and secure in doing that. So that's why this is why we're considering this somewhat of an emergency for us, looking forward, saying as these retirements are going to continue to happen, it's inevitable, but
And we talked about this way before Sean got here. This isn't something new.
no. I think when I started, we were looking at maybe 30% of the workforce was within 5 years of retirement, and that was 7 years ago. And we still got guys that are willing to carry on and continue to work for you and for this community. And every year we can keep them on as a benefit for us. And if we can get these guys that are starting to see that this is a valuable place to work and to commit for a career, then all the better for us.
And I also like you guys keep in mind too, these individuals are out there right now, ready to go over this Christmas holiday, to leave their families, to go out there and tackle this snow in some of the most dangerous conditions with drifting and negative temperatures. So they do a little extra than some or most, but they're ready to fight it, and we're going to take care of the community and keep everyone safe.
It appears that that big gap hurts you.
Yes.
And also, what you just said, it is important that we have staff that are willing to do that. There's a lot of people out there that have to do the same type of things. So I appreciate you bringing this information to us.
I think we should do something. A couple of things that I see will happen if we do this. Other county offices will come to council and say, you guys did a bunch for these guys, and now what are you doing for us? So I'll see that coming. The other thing I think we all have to remember is we're spending well over $8 million on a new highway garage, so the environment should be better come next fall once that's completed, and you guys are working out of a nice, brand-new, state-of-the-art highway garage. So from a, employee morale standpoint, hopefully that helps as well.
I believe that will help morale,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, they still want. money in their
Understand everybody
pockets.
still, they look at their own paycheck and they compare it to whatever else they can get, and that's the biggest determining factor for somebody working somewhere. I get it, I've been in business for a long time, so that's why I said at the beginning, I think we need to do something, and we as council just need to decide what that's gonna be, and,
Sean, we had proposed a 7% increase. Do you know what type of increase this is?
Well, we had the 7%, and it was 25 roughly. You're looking add another 17, 18% on top of that 7 to match Huntington County.
I personally don't think we need to panic and match Huntington County straight up because of those other factors, but I do think it makes sense to get a lot closer. So especially when I asked, how many openings do they have? Well, they got 1, maybe 2 openings right now. You're not going to lose everybody to Huntington County in the next
No.
few months.
Right.
That's just the nature of what happens, but doesn't mean that you're not having the struggles you're having. I get it totally.
Highway garage, I agree that a new highway garage is gonna help us when we're onboarding new people. It's gonna look like a professional facility.
Sure.
It's gonna make it easier for us to train people. It's gonna have
Hopefully
a
that's
little more
more
dignity
attractive
for the
to a new
guys.
person, yes.
It's gonna be a little more attractive to new employees when we're trying to show off what we do offer to employees when they're trying to come on board. And then the next trick is, once we've got them on, how are we gonna keep them? And so what is that retention? What tools do we have? So things for your consideration at least is, we brought this up at the commissioner meeting and we wanted to share it with you as well, is we know that the commissioners are looking at ordinance 85-2. It's a county ordinance, and maybe for some of the new council members, maybe you haven't heard that new employees, when they're hired on, are essentially hired on at a penalty rate, I guess, a $500 reduction of what their salary is. That's across the board in county positions. So rather than kind of rewarding people, we end up penalizing the new ones rather than rewarding the experienced people.
Terminology is pretty important when you're making presentations. One thing I'd like to see in the future when we look at this in a little bit more depth would be year-over-year changes. It's not real evident on this page what the year-over-year difference would be, nor per individual employee what the delta would be year-over-year.
Okay.
So as we move forward with that, something a little more detailed per individual and year-over-year would be great.
But help me understand your proposed longevity column. What do you say, what are you asking for there? On top of salary?
That's on top of salary, right? That's on top.
$100.
Does that build into your 17 or 18%? Is that what you're saying?
Don't believe so.
Or is that not? Are you talking about hourly wage increase? And then on that, on top of that?
Oh, go ahead.
So, yeah, the way Huntington has theirs is a longevity bonus. It's a way for trying to reward your senior employees. And so the structure of that would be $100 per year, whether that be done as a bonus.
Okay.
Per year of
year.
service.
Just trying to understand the methodology, and that makes sense.
And so we wanted to bring that up for your discussion at least. It's a way for us to differentiate the experience of the employees as they've been there. So.
But that's not built into your 60,000 number that you mentioned?
It is.
It is?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
then-
that
and-
spreadsheet calculates that. So if you look at the right column, their salaries include that as if it were in their salary, whether it's built into their hourly rates or done as a bonus.
Well, that number will also decrease over time. If you look at your top 4 employees, you have, yeah. When they retire, then that money goes back. Yeah.
So,
I just want to make something, I probably shouldn't mention, but I used to work in the courthouse, so I took the $500, less. Went to a different office because I was asked by the office holder if I would go with her. Took the next $500 less. I guess I never thought of it as a penalty. I always thought of it as I'm not as experienced, and so that's why you have the $500 less. So I think, in my opinion, sometimes we talk so negatively about things. What about the positives? We have a lot of holidays. There's a lot of other positive things that I think we could bring to our employees to make sure that they feel like, hey, we're trying to do stuff for you that maybe isn't monetary, but in the long run, it's monetary. If you have a day off, here or there that a lot of places do not have. So I'm just trying to, I would like to see more positive on it swing rather than the negatives. And I know money is always the way, that's the only way we can congratulate people for things and for things that they do.
sure.
But I just feel like we're very negative on our approach.
I've heard now, this is my second Christmas, and I get the invites to Christmas parties and Thanksgiving parties, But can you tell me the last time any of you have seen a highway employee at the Thanksgiving or Christmas parties that everyone attends? I don't know if
They
we,
always have their own. They always have their own.
I wanna
Yeah, I
have it
was gonna
together.
say,
If
I-
we're one big family, we should have it together. I mean, we're all working for the same reason.
All your vendors used to put on events right for you. Do they not do that anymore?
They help out. But I want to change that. I haven't had time to even think about it at this moment, but since you said it like that, I was curious if anybody else knew.
Yeah, everybody
We don't
takes
do the
events.
invites, so I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
One last question in regards to the issue with the revolving door happening, or starting to happen here. So basically been since COVID. When do you, in your information?
I came in June of last year, so I can't say just,
Prior, Nate, was this starting to, these numbers happening?
Well, we're starting that bump as we started to see the
I
retirements.
understand that part, but I'm talking about people that are, the new ones coming in and then leaving. Didn't you say that you've got guys that show up?
Yes.
They're ready to work and then they're off.
we've had one that came in, worked 6 months, left,
How
had
many,
one,
how many of those, do you have any ballpark idea how many in the past couple of years that's
two.
happened?
At least two.
Two that
yeah.
came in and left
So
within a
mostly
year.
it's the guys leaving that have already worked here for X amount of years versus new guys coming in, working for 2-3 months and then.
Another gentleman was 8 years, and instead of waiting for himself to be vested with the perf, he chose to leave.
Another option.
Yes,
Another option.
yes.
So the bottom guys that are just startups aren't leaving right away then, is that often, right?
They tell me 2 weeks before they're ready to leave.
I know, but I'm saying the numbers though, the totals.
Well, we have 3 employees with less than a couple months,
Did you say in the last year you've lost how many? 8?
8 total. Well, 8 replacements,
That's this.
one being retirement.
You can use that as some, because you got 0 to 5, so somebody that's, let's say somebody started in.
If you go to the graph, you can see down to the years, each of those employees. There are 4 with 0, will be 4 with 0 because we have a retirement
They never
effective.
got through the 1 year, right?
Well, that's
They're
just,
fresh now.
What you're saying?
yeah, so we did not break down each termination or resignation as far as how long they were here. So
I guess that's what I'm asking, in the past, for somebody that's less than a year, has it been, how many do you think of, 2 people? 2 people.
2 in his 18 months.
Yes.
I mean, and usually when you're in government, you expect people to come in and work 35 years. I mean, that was always kind of the historical expectation is people come into these jobs and they're lifers in these sort of
I can
careers.
tell you in the private side, guys show up and they never show up the following day.
Correct.
I mean, it's very common. I mean, this isn't new
So-
here, so it's.
We're not
everywhere.
where the private sector is from that standpoint, but
But I'm saying it's everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
so some, as we go along here, we gotta remember to stay focused on the whole picture. Because if the job climate changes, it's good, this will change very quickly.
Are you talking private sector with CDL license?
Yeah, total construction.
So they will,
it's-
so an
Laborers
employee,
and operators and.
well, the CDL's taken over, it's taken a stand higher than just your regular labor or skills trade. We have a shortage in this whole country of CDL drivers, and right now, if we hire without CDL, my best option is to send them to a class. They will be there 3 weeks, so we'd have to pay them for 3 weeks so that we wouldn't get no work out of them. Plus the class to get the license is about $5,000. So, I mean, if,
I know exactly what you mean.
I've been training for years, and the way the FMSCA just took over, it's slowing us down, it's gonna hurt us for many years to come. So that one's not gonna change. The CDL shortage is real and long.
But to Todd's point, that puts more pressure on y'all to hone your management skills, to do the other pieces. And I'm not being critical of your management skills. I'm saying you guys can make a difference to the employees day in and day out. And I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying that across the board, there's problems. And there's got to be a difference maker. And Vicki touched on some of it, being holidays and work environment and so forth. But the biggest thing from an employee satisfaction is their management.
I agree. I think upper management even makes a difference, which I believe would be you people.
and we have to earn the respect of our employees and the people that answer to us and to Sean, to know that we're willing to stick our necks out, come out here and present a raise after a raise. I know the 7% is probably one of your highest that you've given. And when we look at the market, it's not unfortunately competitive, is what we're afraid of. And looking at the losses, we don't want to see a loss of service to the public. So I think we want to make sure that these guys know that we value them, and doing a presentation just like this and putting this sort of numbers together is important to them. So, and
Well, you said something
Well-
about not panicking, and if we don't have a way to backfill people that are leaving, I think that is a time to panic, especially when they're facing snowstorms. I think it is something.
Or can you train somebody new overnight in that case?
We got 4 that are gonna be out in the storm
No, I
this
understand
weekend.
that. Yeah, no, you're gonna have some new.
I
new
don't
people.
want 10 new people out in the storm this weekend, next year, or the year after. It takes time.
We all understand and we feel for you. We're just trying to figure out what's the best because it's a snowball that we also have to consider.
I'm just I'm reiterating and making sure, and the things I think of to give the citizens of Willis County what they need.
Right.
I'll listen to, somebody wants to make some sort of motion regarding this subject. I don't know.
I don't mind bridging some of the gap. I don't know if I go all the way to where Huntington is necessarily, because in Adams County, it becomes a game of everybody trying to then match everybody. And dog chasing its tail, we're not gonna get anywhere at the end of the day. But I do think that bridging some of that gap, and they've got it within their budget to do it,
Yeah,
doesn't bother
that's the
me.
nice part. I mean, you've got some budget,
And it is a unique job set.
and you may be able,
Like we do,
with
yeah.
the machine that we just, sounds like we're gonna purchase, there may be some savings in materials and things, that, you know,
In budget,
coming back into the kitty.
yeah, in budget meeting, I seen some places that we could trim down and
We
without,
bridge some of the gap, and then we really hit it next. I mean, the thing is, it feels like, I don't like doing things urgently, because it feels like we're, especially when we just did the budget a few months ago, I don't mind bridging some gap, and then we look next year and say, let's hit it hard with some pay metrics or whatever needs to happen, and we're not doing it spur of the moment, but I do think something needs to be done.
I mean, I do like the thought of having the longevity. It makes some differentiation for your experienced personnel versus somebody has none. So that makes perfect sense to me. That's what you do in business. So I like that. If somebody wants to make a motion to that effect, and then whatever,
Longevity.
yeah, and then whatever rates that make sense. I agree. We should go up some.
So just the proposed rates, that's not the 7% that we're going into.
No,
Correct.
that's what's not on there.
That's what you're proposing, then, make sure, I don't have it in front of me.
7%
We don't have that.
on the salary ordinance was 2406 roughly is where we're going to be.
2406?
Highway
Uh,
employees are 2229.
Yeah, 2229, sorry,
There you go.
2229 for
Yeah.
highway employees is where we're at now.
2406 like for road foreman.
So if you kind of split the difference, it'd be about 2340 when I was doing the math.
But right now, we don't have longevity,
We don't.
so I guess at this point, I guess for me, I'd rather, is there any way we could do this in January? Just a question.
We have some time to think.
Give a little
about
time to
the numbers.
think about it and look at the wage
It's
scales.
gonna be
of the
January, I mean, it's only
unions and
2 weeks
whatnot,
away.
I just wanted to bring it, that's why I didn't want to do it on your
I
short
would feel
meeting, but I
better
want
about
to
doing that too.
I'd like to
have time to
digest it.
think about it.
I'd rather hit the
They're
numbers.
gonna get an increase regardless.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, not that that's buying you time, but it is a little bit. Everybody knowing that that's coming.
Yeah.
I think it means a lot that you're even considering
Yes.
and looking at what options are available to you. I mean, we've got to make this sort of presentation to you to let you know, here's kind of the situation on the ground and where we're at. And when we put budgets together in July and September and October, we had no idea where other counties are going to be and where the private sector is very quick and responsive. I see companies change their signs on their hourly rates every 2 weeks. You can't do that. We don't have that flexibility, so we're very slow in the response, and by nature, we have to. And so we can respect that. We're just letting you be aware of what's going on. So,
I think you have a fairly receptive council to do something, so I think we can,
Let's look at January.
let's sit on this for a couple of weeks and
Let's all look it over,
revisit
and
it
then
that first meeting in
we'll-
January.
You're not gonna worry about it.
Yeah.
I think were you napping?
in favor of anything or
So
not?
do tell them, obviously, we all appreciate what they're gonna be going through the next several days.
Yes.
And we wanna do something, but if we have to January to look over the numbers and make the best decision for the whole county, would be a better, again, it's only 2 weeks away, so it's not like it's several months.
Okay,
Thanks.
so the decision will be, we'll revisit it in January.
All right.
Appreciate you bringing that to us.
Thank you for your time. Sorry for making it a longer meeting, and congratulations to the two of you.
Yep, that's what we appreciate, Sean.
All right.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We also thank you for considering your employees.
Yep, tell them to be careful out there.
Yep. It is
Regardless of
gonna be
experience.
I hope the snow never comes this weekend, by the way.
That'd be wonderful.
Okay, we're down to other business. Let's go to the salary ordinance that we need to, do we need to approve that or vote?
Yes.
So what changes are on there,
It
Lisa?
is all of the, yeah, it's everything.
Okay, so this is all the
Yep.
updated
Yeah.
salary
That's the
ordinance
final.
from the budget process.
Ordinance number again.
2022-31.
Just need a motion for the salary ordinance to be
Motion
updated.
to approve the salary ordinance 2022-31.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Okay. And then we have the alternate for the area plan appointment from this committee. And was that just someone from our
Yes, you
council?
reappointed Jerome Markley last time, and they would like to have an alternate in case he can't show up to a meeting, then they will get a hold of the alternate.
Anybody want to step up and be the volunteer alternate for that?
When are your meetings,
Well-
Mike?
The only thing I'd comment on that, I know, when's it start in January? So, we have 2 new members coming on. I don't know,
If somebody might
would
want
do
to
that
do that.
can we do that the first meeting? Because we're gonna be here the 3rd, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, Jerome would not be there at that 7th, but what I'm saying is, could we make that decision with the 2 new members coming in on board?
We're doing
On the
the rest
3rd?
of the board appointments on the 3rd.
Can we do it then?
I mean, I just
I'm
made
fine
a
with that.
suggestion, that way they at least have input, and we would be able to take off from there if it. And I'm curious if the alternate, because Jerome in the past has been president, right?
Yes, correct.
Would they have to be the presiding
Yeah, the vice president and the.
They would take that, okay, because they wouldn't be, yeah, whoever that,
Yeah, the alternate. would not-
that alternate wouldn't be very versed on what's going on, so, okay.
No, we would not, that would not be the expectation.
Okay. Is that?
Okay, that's fine with me. Let's push that off till January meeting. Any other miscellaneous business from council? Audience, anything else you'd like to bring up this time? All right, I have just one thing. Chuck and Jim, if you could come over here. Please. We have a plaque to present to each one of you gentlemen for your service for Wells County. And let me just read, I'll read Jim since he's the most tenured councilman. It says, from Wells County Council, presents to Jim Oswalt in recognition and appreciation for your many years of dedicated service to the Wells County Council. 1999, started when you're 8 or 9 years old then, to 2022.
Fairly close to that.
So thank you, Jim.
All righty, thank you.
6.
Thank you, everybody.
Stay here, we'll get a picture with both of you guys. And the same thing, the Wells County Council presents to Chuck King in recognition of and appreciation for your many years of dedicated service to the Wells County Council, 2015 to 2022. And I think Chuck and I, we were both in the same class starting at the same year. So thank you very much for your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you want to get a picture real quick?
However you want to do it.
Show your, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Could I say just something real
Sure.
quick?
Yeah.
I appreciate all the things over the years and everything. And, council, you've done an excellent job. One thing is, the most important person is always Lisa. And there was one term that we had a definite problem for about 4 years. But we've not had that since, and I tell you what, she does an excellent job.
Thank you very
She
much.
does.
Agree.
Great bean counter.
Yeah.
Among other things. All right, if nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Merry Christmas, everyone.
First, no pleasure.